Bill Belichick will go down as possibly the greatest head coach in NFL history with 6 Super Bowl wins, had 2 as the DC, and deservedly so. But fast forward to today, and I feel very confident in saying Bill Belichick is not only on his way out, but he will never win another Super Bowl. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be fired because he's earned the right to go out his own way, and they did make the playoffs last year. But it seems like Belichick is trying to win the same way he did with Tom Brady, and early returns are showing that probably isn't going to work. Now, Brady could have average weapons around him and elevate everybody's game to a level where they're effective enough during normal and crunch times to be able to generate enough points to win. He's relied on good defense, elite special teams, and a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback to help secure what is a dynamic legacy. But it seems the only mountain he has left to conquer is being able to win the big one post-Tom Brady. Now, Brady just went down to Tampa and won another ring, almost played for another one last year. So it wasn't just being in the Belichick system that made Tom Tom. The stubbornness of using the same formula is showing itself not to be in the best way to go about things. And if Belichick wants to leave a legacy that wasn't just being lucky enough to have Tom Brady, he wants to leave a legacy that it was his system that not only created Super Bowl winners, but also the best quarterback who ever lived. Now, asking Mac Jones to win the same way that Brady did is not only unfair, there's no chance of it working. And Mac's going to be a good player, right? I'm not going to deny that, but he is not and will never be Tom Brady. It seems Belichick is doing things even more outside of the box than normal as well, letting Matt Patricia go from a DC and former head coach to now the OC. And the Patriots continue to deprive Mac of legitimate playmakers who can make his job easier while trying to rebuild what is usually a pretty stout defense, especially in the back end. Now, Patriots fans aren't satisfied with just making the playoffs, and they don't want to fall back into obscurity because the winningest coach they've ever had wants to make it about his system and not the signal caller. Now, we may just find out that Belichick was more of a system coach than Tom Brady was a system quarterback. Now, none of that diminishes anything that Bill has done as a head coach. But there is one common denominator in all of the Super Bowls the Hall of Fame head man has won. That is Tom Brady. And without him, it seems like the ride's over. Now, Cone, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to bring in Ted Lasso over here. But
Believe.
I am not saying that Bill Belichick is not a good coach. He's an elite coach, one of the best ever. But I give Nick Saban credit for being malleable once he got to the mountaintop to be able to maintain his success. And people will say, all right, well, it's easier in college than it is in the NFL. We can have that debate. But it seems that Belichick is not going to switch up how he does things. He is not going to switch up the formula a little bit. And I bring back Saban because he saw offense was changing, the rules were changing, which rules have changed in the NFL as well. I don't know if Belichick is that malleable. I think he wants to do it one way. It worked, obviously, with Tom Brady. They won a ton. But Mac Jones isn't Tom Brady. There's not another Tom Brady out there. And I don't think going about it this way is the way to go.
I think he has shown, though, that he can win in different ways. When you look at that first dynasty that he had with Tom Brady, Tom Brady doesn't get those first 3 Super Bowls unless the Patriots have an elite defense.
Yes.
Look, later, that next sort of tier of dynasties that they were able to create there, I think they were able to win more with the strength of Tom Brady. So that is impressive. They were winning more with offense than with defense. It does appear that Bill Belichick is stubborn at times, and while I think he is the greatest coach of all time, and he could retire right now and could be the greatest coach of all time, I question some of the moves here being made recently, and like we've always talked about. We have questions about Bill Belichick as a GM more than a coach, but we let it slide because when you win 6 Super Bowls, you built up the equity. But when I look and I see that, Matt Patricia was a great defensive coordinator for the Patriots, doesn't make it as a head coach with the Lions, and comes back, and now the Patriots technically have no AC. I mean, Matt Patricia is the senior football advisor and will call the plays. Where I get frustrated is when we hear these reports out of camp that Mac Jones isn't playing well. And I'm like, well, how much success is he being set up for? If Matt Patricia, former defensive coordinator, is calling the offensive plays now, and he really doesn't have this stable of weapons around him. So that's my biggest question right now.
Yeah, and Blaine, my thing is, and I'm not saying the Patriots won't make the playoffs. I'm not saying the Patriots won't win a playoff game. But I don't think Bill Belichick wins another Super Bowl. And in all actuality, I don't think he gets close. Because again, Tom Brady, If you just break it down, and it may be an oversimplification. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick win a lot of Super Bowls, have a ton of success. Could have had 2 more. Giants, we can go back and relitigate that. But when you look at when Tom leaves and he goes and wins another one without you, and the Patriots don't look like they're going in a great direction right now. I know Mac's talented, but again, Mac is not Tom Brady. And I know he's only been out for a couple years, and I get it, but he's never going to be Tom Brady. There's probably never going to be another Tom Brady, and I don't know if Belichick's going to switch his flow up.
Well, I go back to this. So Belichick, when you send your monologue, without Tom, he's a system coach.
I'm saying, I think, so a lot of people said that Tom Brady was winning because he was in Belichick's system. And I agree with Cone that they were very defense heavy early in Tom Brady's career. It's not like Tom didn't have big drives. Remember him bringing them down, Vinatieri kicking the 48-yarder to beat the Rams, whatever. But when I look at Tom leaving and winning a Super Bowl, and then the Patriots now were just kind of like, blah, I know they made the playoffs. That system worked great a while ago. Just like the way that Nick Saban's system, who he learned from Belichick, who learned from Parcells, was to play great defense, be able to run the ball, have a good play-action game, and a quarterback that knows what's going on is not going to lose you the game, and play great on special teams. That's how they won. Tom Brady turned in this elite superstar and he did have Randy Moss. He did have a couple guys that were elite around him, but not for the long haul. Tom Brady made everybody else better around him, but the Patriots were always pretty good on defense. So what I'm saying is, it's like a stockbroker who had a lot of success in the early 2000s doing it one way. Well, the market changes, and you got to adjust. You can't keep running the same play over again and expect it to work as the game evolves. You have to evolve with the game. So I'm not saying he's a system coach. I'm saying that the system he wants to use, the one he's always used, isn't going to work without Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, and in today's game.
Okay, so he's not a system coach, basically, is what you're saying.
I'm saying he's more of every coach. Every coach is a system coach. Every coach.
This is the greatest coach of all time, right? And saying without one player, he'd be a system coach. I feel like that does somewhat diminish what he accomplished, right?
Well, I think
if you're that high. If you're the tippy top of the totem pole,
so
right, and one guy taken away makes you a system coach. And I'm saying you're wrong. I kind of went through today and looked at it. I mean, Bill Belichick without Tom Brady, he's 70 for 79. All right, he's 29 and 58 against team with 500 winning percentages or better. So I feel like there is some evidence to show that. But worries me is that if you are the best ever, right? If you are the best ever to ever do it, put on the headset in the NFL, and that's what we're saying, right? And if one guy taken away can make you a system coach, I feel like that does somewhat diminish what you've accomplished on being the greatest ever.
Well, again, I think 2 things can be true at once. I mean, you could say, well, Phil Jackson had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, but he's still looked at as one of the greatest coaches of all time because they did win. You could say the same thing about Steph Curry. There has not been a coach, all right, that has had a ton of success that didn't have great players or an elite player. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, I think Tom Brady was more important in the long run than Bill Belichick in the Patriots winning those Super Bowls. I really believe that. Now, when I say system coach, every coach has a system, but every coach isn't malleable enough, or every coach isn't too stubborn, or most coaches are too stubborn to change it after something has changed, the game has changed, the rules have changed. So Bill Belichick is not switching his flow up. And to me, I think you can honestly say the numbers bear it out that Tom Brady was more important than Bill Belichick was.
I just don't know if you're the greatest ever and you're not malleable to be able to change. Like that, those two things.
Well, they have
those 2 things don't go together.
Well, okay, but he still does have 6 Super Bowls as a head coach.
But that's more Tom Brady, right?
Yes, but again, okay, would you say that the Bulls winning was more Phil Jackson or Michael Jordan?
Didn't Phil win with the Lakers?
Yeah, who had Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Okay, like
he's won in multiple places.
2 things can be true at once.
Let's ask it this way: if you flipped Mac Jones and Tom Brady this season, you put Tom Brady back in New England with Bill Belichick, and you put Mac Jones on this loaded Tampa Bay offense, where do you think this shakes out for both those teams this season?
I would be willing to put my money on the Patriots before I did the Bucs. I really would. Again, Tom's giving me no reason. Tom's won it with not great.
So what you're saying is this only a quarterback problem in New England right now?
No, but using that and trying to put Tom Brady into like generic terms for what Tom brings. Tom is like the anomaly. He's the exception to the rule.
So you take him out of it and take Mac Jones out of it. How many quarterbacks are in the NFL right now you think could go to the Patriots and they would be your Super Bowl favorite this season?
Oh, none.
None?
I mean,
if you put Josh Allen.
If you put Mahomes over there, you could make an argument. But again, I've seen Tom take average teams or average offenses for the Patriots and go win a Super Bowl. Like, I just think Tom was so good at elevating people around him. He was so good in that locker room of staying on people. And obviously, he's very talented as a quarterback. I just think that Belichick is not going to win another Super Bowl if he doesn't change. And it's not Mac Jones' fault. Like, they have no weapons around him that are legitimate. You just got to call a spade a spade. Just is what it is. But Tom Brady could elevate that offense to a place where you could have a chance. There's not another Tom Brady out there, and I think Belichick is trying to do what he used to do, is skimp on offense, get more guys on defense, because Tom Brady can lead the offense to be good enough because he's Tom Brady. Now, you don't have Tom Brady. So you got to pick another way to go about it, and I don't think he's going to do it.
So if I put a line on Bill Belichick coaching for another 3.5 seasons, would you take the over or the under?
Under.
Under?
Over.
You take the over? Just because he's stubborn and wants
Are we saying his head coach
he's
or
70, right?
He's 70 years old.
Yeah, I think he's got probably 4 or 5 years left in him.
Let's say this. Say the Patriots don't make the playoffs 3 years in a row, okay, over the next 3 years. You think he goes in that fourth one as a head coach? Or do you think he rides off in the sunset?
Well, I think they're going to make the playoffs.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
Not any. Well,
how many
okay, well,
years
that
has
actually
Mac
get us
been
into
in
the
the league?
over-unders here then.
How many years has Mac been in the league?
This will be
This is his
year 3, right?
Well, he won it in 2020. This will be his
Second. Is it
Second.
This is
Maybe-
second.
I mean, hell, it's his second year in the league. Let's give
Maybe a
the kid
breakout.
some time.
Maybe a sophomore
Okay,
year.
okay, who's he throwing to?
It's a valid
who's he
question.
throwing to?
He doesn't have a lot of weapons.
Who's he
I
throwing to?
mean, Tom didn't have a lot of weapons.
And that is true. But
Yeah, but
speaking
Tom
of
Brady,
which,
again, if we're asking Mac Jones to be Tom Brady,
We're not.
I can go ahead
We're
and
not. I'm just saying.
I think Bill
Mac
is.
Jones some time.
I
It's
think
his
Bill
second
Belichick
year.
is.
Hell, just took him to the playoffs his first year. Let's give him some time for his second year. Who do you have to throw it to last year?
Yeah, more than what they have
Mac
this
Jones
year.
or Brady?
Yeah,
Mac Jones. Or
Mac
Brady?
Jones.
Oh, okay.
Again, but again,
And
do you
James
think-
White just retired.
Do you
today,
think
too.
the Patriots fans are fine with going to the wild card and losing?
No, they're not fine, but you have to understand something. It's your quarterback's second year. I mean, you
Yeah.
just drafted a new quarterback. How many first-year quarterbacks are going to come in there and win you the Super Bowl?
Well, at least you got some young quarterbacks that have weapons around them.
True. I mean, you can't blame that on. I'm talking about Mac Jones. Like, you give Mac
I'm
Jones some
not
time.
blaming Mac, but I don't think if you gave Mac Jones 300 years with the receivers they have now, that they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, I
Do
understand,
you think
but
they're
they
going to
obviously
win the
could.
Super Bowl?
This year?
Yeah.
No.
What about next year?
No.
What about year after that?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Maybe. Yeah. But
Maybe
give
they'll
Mac
have some
time.
players that
Give Mac some time.
Yeah, give
Well-
Mac some players.
Well, the Patriots over/under for wins this season is 8.5.
Let's
How
go
do you feel
through
about that? You want to go through it?
Let's go through. Let's tell everybody who's in the division first. Let's tell everybody who's in the division. Because when I say I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, I legitimately mean that.
The Patriots this
Yes,
season?
I legitimately mean that.
All right, so obviously they have Dolphins, Bills, Jets, right, in that
Yeah.
division. So here's their schedule. At Dolphins,
Loss,
at Steelers,
loss
Ravens,
at home, loss,
at Packers,
loss,
Lions,
win,
at Browns,
win,
Bears,
win,
at Jets,
loss,
Colts,
loss,
Jets,
win,
at the Vikings.
loss,
You get Buffalo at home,
loss,
at the Cardinals,
loss,
at the Raiders,
loss.
Bengals,
At home,
yep,
I'll give them a win on that.
Dolphins home,
Win.
and then you finish up at the Bills.
Y'all winning 6 games. Patriots winning 6 games.
Ooh, 6 games.
They're winning 6 games,
Blaine,
7 max.
your brother
Better beat
says
the
the
Jets at
Patriots
home.
are winning 6 games,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, so I'm taking the under on that. I'll smash.
What do you
something
have?
on
8.5?
8.5.
Give me the over.
Give me the-
Okay,
who you
at
gotta-
9, or do you think they win 10 games?
That's where it gets dicey.
Well, you just
That's
need
where
9.
it gets dicey. The 9 and 10. Because I know there is someone out there who made a bet with a lot of parlays with a 10.
Yeah.
And I can see it someone, but 9, I'll give them 9.
I have 9 too. I have 9 and 8. Here's how I'm thinking about it. Dolphins, Bills, Jets in their division. Let's just say it's a split. They win 3 there. Their away games are at Steelers, Packers, Browns, Vikings, Cardinals, and Raiders. Let's say they get 3 of those. Maybe Browns. They play the Browns week 6. That would be before Deshaun Watson comes back. Not expecting a whole lot from the Cardinals. Maybe they can beat the Steelers on the road.
Not expecting a whole lot from the Cardinals. I mean, Kyler Murray. What week do they play the Cardinals?
Hollywood Browns out.
What week do they play the Cardinals?
Check it out. Hold on.
Because D-Hop's out 6 games.
Week 14. So
Hop
and it's on the road, so fair enough on that. And then your home games are Ravens, Lions, Bears, Colts, and Bengals. Think they can beat the Lions, Bears, and Colts?
Oh, I think that, look.
If that's 3-3-3, then I have them 9-8.
Again, I got them 8 max. I got them 8 max. 8 wins max.
Okay.
Not making the playoffs.
All right. 8 or 6?
I said 8 max, but I would say I'd meet somewhere in the middle and say 7 wins. I said 6, 7 max, then I changed my mind. I want 8 max.
Look, it's either 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10.
That's not what I said.
How about the...
Yeah, you said Oregon's going to beat Georgia. Don't worry.
I did say that.
People don't forget.
I did say that. And I'll like keep saying it because I said that, so I'm not going to just change it.
Yeah, people
I
don't
love it.
forget.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm not going to
I want to watch that game with you.
I say stuff in my chest.
Hey everybody, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and ring that bell. We're excited to be here. It's Crain and Company live 2 to 3 Central daily. Ring that bell. I want to hear it from coast to coast.